Hey everybody, my name is Tori Walls. I am a graduate of Converse. I am a Pink Panther from 2012, and so I think if I heard right, you guys are sophomores, which means you are Red Devils, and that's okay. I'll forgive you, but I'm a Pink Panther, so yay Pink Panthers! This is my current 9th year teaching. I am an elementary school music teacher in Spartanburg School District 6. Where I am at right now is one of my schools. I have 2 schools. This is my home base. It is Lone Oak Elementary School, and we are sort of a diamond in the rough over here, a stone's throw away from USC Upstate. So outside my window, I can see the gold steeple at USC Upstate. So I'm right outside of Heron Circle right now. And the rest of the week, so 3 days I'm here, and then 2 days of the week I am at another school called Anderson Mill Elementary, which is out towards Roebuck. And so I teach in Spartanburg District 6, which is the Dorman district. And I love my school district and I love my job. So I am here to tell you a little bit more about myself as a person, how I came to teach music, my background, my Converse experience, and anything I can think of to make that experience and your future better, especially if this is a career that you are pursuing. Let's see. So I grew up in a very musical family. Almost all of my family either sings or plays an instrument or something. In fact, my mom's name is Melody and her sister's name was Harmony. And so music was kind of in my bones from the beginning. My mom played the piano, and when I was 3 years old, I told her that I wanted to play it too. So my parents did not force me, but they said sure. So I did, and I loved playing the piano, and I understood music not by ear, but by music. So college oral skills, very good for me. When I was in 6th grade, I joined the band at my school and played the oboe, started on the oboe. Super fun. And then when I was in high school, I decided I wanted to be in the marching band because fun, get to hang out with all your friends. So I learned how to play the mellophone, which for those of you that don't know is sort of like a marching version of a French horn. And I went on to become the drum major of my marching band my senior year. It was super fun. I wouldn't trade it for the world. And let's see, so I played the piano and I played a couple other instruments. I knew that I wanted to work with children. Well, hold on, I take that back. I knew that I wanted to work in music, but I did not know I wanted to work with children. In fact, if you had asked me in the 11th grade, I would have told you that children don't like me and I don't think I can be a music teacher. Like, not happening. I did a service learning class in high school. And at the time, I did not have my license, and so I had to find a ride with a friend. And I found a ride with a friend to a local elementary school and observed their music teacher, and I fell in love and just knew that was what I was supposed to do. So I looked for schools to find. My aunt was a 1990 graduate of Converse, so I looked at Converse, fell in love. I actually, don't tell them this, didn't apply anywhere else, which is so against my nature because I am very much a planner. Like, I have notes about what I'm telling you right now. I am a planner. Ask the professors who knew me. On top of things. Not that time. It was a God thing. I was meant to come to Converse because I did not apply anywhere else. It was to the point where if I did not pass my audition, I don't know where I would have gone. So little old me, who grew up playing church music and could barely play a Bach 3-part invention, went into my piano audition and happened to do the right thing, I guess, and impress them just enough. There's more details. But Dr. Weeks became my piano teacher, bless him, and he was the most patient and the most kind person. I grew under him more than I could ever imagine. I also took oboe lessons with Kelly Van Emmen. That was super fun, always a good time. And at one point in college, I also took voice lessons from Keith Jones. So I kind of did a lot in the music school. I also accompanied, because as a pianist, why not get paid, right? So I also accompanied several of my friends on recitals and things like that. And I also was the yearbook editor of the Converse Wise and Otherwise yearbook my senior year of college, which was kind of my escape from the music school, I guess, a chance to get out and be a part of the college in a different way, and be creative in a different way. And also I taught at the Fine Arts Day Camp for 3 summers, and that, I will say, I give credit to Janae O'Shields for giving me tons of creative freedom. And that is where I think I really learned how to be a creative children's music teacher, because each of those camps has a theme, and I was able to kind of create lessons. There were no limits and no boundaries. I could just create whatever I wanted to make a fun experience for the kids, and got to just create fun ideas. Let's try this. Let's try this. Ooh, do you want to do this? Ooh, let's collaborate, and just kind of see what would work and what didn't. That was where I really honed my teaching skills and decided, yep, like, I'm in the right place. This is for me. I can do this. So then my senior year, I student taught with Sharon Doyle at Woodland Heights Elementary School, which is in the district I'm in now, and the right place at the right time. Got my foot in the door, and 2 weeks before the next school year started, I got my job. 2 weeks. Like, I was already starting to do Plan B and Plan C. So those of you who are, looking for jobs, keep pressing, keep holding on when you get to that point in your career, because yeah, sometimes you got to move to Plan B and Plan C, but sometimes it's right around the corner. I love where I teach. I, at one point in my career, taught at 4 different schools. Yeah, y'all are looking at me like I'm crazy. 4 different schools in 1 week, and some teachers call them preps, or different subjects that you plan. At one point in my career, I was planning over 10 different preps a week by myself. But now I'm at 2 schools, and I plan about 6 preps a week. And I co-teach at my other school with another music teacher. So that's just kind of an intro to who I am and how I got where I am. I do want to say that I did a senior recital in piano. And if you are a music student, I don't know if this is going to be just for music students or for all arts school people, but if you are a music student and you are questioning whether you should do a recital or not, do it. It will be worth it. You will be so glad. So this is my first piece of advice. Spend as much time as you can right now in college doing whatever it is that is your art. Because no matter if you become a professional symphony orchestra musician, you are going to have adult life hit you. So you're not going to have time to just sit in a practice room and practice. Nobody's going to beg you to do that anymore. So I am begging you. For me, I will live vicariously through you. Please go to the practice room, practice your instrument, go to the studio and create your art and do whatever it is that you love to do, even though you might be cringing at the thought of that sonata that you have to practice that is just like killing you. Go do it. Go do it, because if I could right now, I would. That doesn't mean I don't play the piano anymore, but I will never have all of that time again. And I knew that then, so I made the best of it. So I did a full 30-minute junior recital and a full hour-long senior recital, even as a music ed major. In fact, I did my senior recital in the middle of student teaching. I'm not trying to brag on myself. I'm just saying, soak it all up. Like, make it worth it. Do whatever you can to just soak every bit that you can from Converse, because it will be worth it. So with that said, my advice, piece of advice I have for you for college is take as many courses as you can that don't even have to do with your special chosen field. Like my senior year, I know I was real busy, but I really just thought it sounded cool to study biblical Greek because I like to study the Bible. And so I went to Dr. Kiefer and I said, hey, will you do an individual, what do you call that? One of those individual study class things with Dr. Kiefer. And once a week or twice a week, I got to meet with Dr. Kiefer and learn biblical Greek. And I got a grade for it. And it was really cool. And it got me a chance to get out of my music brain and learn something totally different. And also, if you are an education major, like music ed, or maybe there's some art ed people listening, I'm not sure, do whatever you can. This is my one thing I would change. Do whatever you can to take an education class in something that you're interested in that is not music or art. I wish someone would have given me a class in special education. I kind of had to fake it till I made it my first couple years of teaching. So, yeah, you don't know what you don't know. But if I could change one thing about my time at Converse, it would be to go back and take some kind of course in just education. Not music education, but just education. Because we artists are just like a different beast. We think differently. We really do. And so when you get out in that world where you're having to work with other people who just, like have been in 1,000 schools and you have been in a practice room, then you kind of got to figure out how to communicate and what people are talking about. And the better that you can do that, the more professional you will be, the more hireable. Is that a word? I hope it is. Hireable, marketable you will be. So far in my career, I have worked with at least 5 or 6 principals, which is a lot of different styles of communication and a lot of different ways of organizing. And I have a team, a co-teaching team, our music elementary team across our district. There are 9 other people, and we have to plan and organize things together too, along with the people in my building who teach library or technology or PE that I have to plan and prepare with. So I'm constantly kind of code switching, if you will, and putting on my different hat depending on what I'm doing. So that is my advice. Take as many courses as you can. Do the recital. It will be worth it. I promise you. And take an extra course in your field that is a little bit different than what you are already doing. Just because. Okay. I wanted to tell you a little bit more about my family. So I am married. My husband's name is Jesse, and we have been married a little over 8 years. We got married right after I graduated from Converse, and this is our son, Solomon, and he is almost 16 months old, and as you can see, he is very full of personality and very busy. So, maybe kids are not for you. Maybe you don't want kids, and I'm not saying that you should, but just want you to know that as I talk to you today, this is who I am, and right now this is my focus, even though being a musician and being a music teacher is just as much a part of me as being a mom is. And we have all those layers that make us ourselves, and we have to make sure we dedicate time and effort and energy to feeding all those parts of our souls. So just as a quick overview of what my job entails, in case some of you may be pursuing music education, I've discovered that a lot of people in the community and even other musicians don't know what it takes or what you do as an elementary school music teacher. So my ultimate goal is to prepare my students to be well-rounded in music reading and music exposure so that when they leave my program and they choose to do band or strings or chorus or whatever else they might do in middle school, even if that's music theater or anything else, that they are appreciative of the arts and that they are prepared to do those next advanced skills. So I teach currently 1st through 5th grade. I have classes with special ed students who mainstream in with my neurotypical students is, I guess, the correct term. And I've also taught special ed classes on my own, just me and just them. I've taught classes with deaf and hard of hearing students. And so on a normal day, I teach around 6 classes, and they last anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour each. And we do all kinds of things, all kinds of concepts: rhythm, notation, instrument families, composers, music history, musical styles, music from around the world, music from other cultures, music from our own culture, comparing and contrasting, recognizing audience behaviors, going to see performances whenever we can, and just anything I can do to expose them to be better musicians. They do have performance opportunities, not right now because of Corona, but they do have performance opportunities each year with me where I can fine-tune their skills and play on their assets and their skill sets to show off their talents. So that's a little bit about what I do, and it's more than just singing and patting like it was when I was in elementary school. So I wanted you to know that. In preparing for this, I realized that some of you may have the question about how do I balance work and home and life and having fun. That's definitely a real concern for any stage of your life, especially as a working mom. That's a very real concern for me. And I'm just going to read this to you. I'm going to put it on the screen because it is definitely me. It's Oprah, by the way, and it says, "I am an overly emotional, unemotional, clingy, but distant private person who likes to overshare at any moment, and I'm trying to figure out how that works." That is totally me. That might be you too. So that's it. We have so many different facets and layers of our personalities, and we figure out how to make that work and balance that with our professional lives. In my household, it's really interesting because my husband and I are polar opposites. I am outgoing. He is very introverted. Very. And that's fine. We sometimes butt heads about things, and that's okay. But we have to really respect that about each other and really respect each other's kind of needs and interests. So I'm a true extrovert. I get my energy from being around other people, and I need that social interaction. Summer is actually kind of hard for me when I'm not teaching because I just have to get out and go do things and see friends because, like I need the social interaction. Quarantine was real hard last spring, really hard for me. And my husband is not like that. He needs his downtime and he needs his alone time. But I say all that to say we really have to balance each other. And whoever you live and work around, you have to balance each other in those personalities. So for instance, every Thursday night, we have a group of friends, a couple that comes over to our house and hangs out with us. And the guys do their thing, and me and my girlfriend, we do our thing, and that is our time. Like, they have their time, we have our time, it's our friend time. It's really good for us as a couple because we have time apart, right? And so that's important. Also, realizing your learning style and your communication style. Like, I tend to be a little bit blunt. I get that from my mom and my grandma. Sorry. And I tend to just call it like it is, and I'm really honest. I value honesty. I expect it in other people, and I'm going to tell you how I feel. But I'm going to be okay with you if you are also honest with me, even if that means you don't agree with me, right? I have a colleague who I love and adore and is a wonderful friend. But she tells me that I am honest as the day is long, because I just kind of say how I feel. I'm not rude, I'm not unprofessional, but that is just my personality, because I'm an open book and she tends to not be that way. And so we have really had to work hard, her and I, on balancing that working relationship of how can I communicate in a better way so that I don't offend people, which is hard for me sometimes because I just want to say what I feel, and I expect you to say what you feel, and that's how I expect the world to operate. But not everyone is like that. And so I've started to learn to recognize those things in my coworkers, and especially in my bosses. How do they want to be talked to? How do they perceive respectful conversations, or maybe a little bit forward and front kind of conversations? I've also had to realize that I am a very visual learner and a very visual thinker. So I tend to plan lessons in my teaching that have tons to look at, because that's how I think. And I've had to realize that not every other teacher operates that way. So all that you go through in school and in college about learning about those personality types, about learning styles, and even about communication styles is so important, not just in yourself, but to be able to recognize that in other people, maybe even in your spouse. And right now I have a 1-year-old son. He is learning how to tell me how he feels. And y'all, he's got a lot of my personality in him, and it's interesting. Like, I'm getting a little bit of payback right now, and if you know, you know. Maybe you have kids, some of you, you know, I'm getting paid back, and that's okay. My parents are like laughing all the time at me, but I'm getting paid back. So I'm having to learn even that communication style with my son, and how do I communicate best for you and for me, and where we're at in this phase of our life right now. So just a really quick note, I did pursue a master's about 5 years after I started teaching. I chose to go through the University of Missouri for various reasons about the degree that I was considering. I was planning to do my master's in ESOL, which is teaching English to speakers of other languages, which I enjoy because at my current school I have a heavy population of students who speak other languages at home, mostly Spanish in this community, and so I really fell in love with that and planned to pursue my master's in that, but along the way figured out that that program was not exactly what I thought it was going to be. And so I ended up changing and finished my master's with a degree in early childhood education, mostly for the reason that I wanted to make myself marketable if, for any reason, the public school system in South Carolina or wherever I am living decided not to have the arts in public schools. And there are states that is the case. So I wanted to have a degree essentially as a backup if I ever were to not have a music school job anymore and wanted to continue teaching. I also feel like it makes me a better, more well-rounded teacher, and I know more about the basics of how to teach my students things other than music. And so just a little note about that. You might have to back up and punt when you choose things like that in your life, and that's okay. Even if you're a planner like me, sometimes you just got to move on to plan B, and that's all right. But pursuing a master's was a lot of work, a lot of dedication. I had to have a lot of support from home. I did mine completely online, so that meant a lot of nights of just being on the computer. I'm sure some of you have experienced that lately, and it was a lot of work, but very well worth it. So just a little tidbit about that for you. I did sort of want to talk to you about how I continue to be a musician at the same time that I am a teacher. So I do love to play the piano, as I already said, and I do play occasionally at my church. I sing on the praise team at my church, and I actually sing every other Sunday so that I can just be a non-musician on the off Sundays and sit in the pew with my husband and enjoy service in a different way. So I really try to find that balance between my musical self and taking a break from that too. Before I had my son, for several years, played just any and every chance I had outside of school or even for other causes at school. So I teach elementary school, but I would play for middle and high school band or chorus concerts. I would accompany when they would go to state conferences like SCMEA. I would go and accompany for them to perform. Anytime there was a district-wide musical and I would play piano in the pit, and we would do the real MTI books. So I have played The Fantastics. I've done Thoroughly Modern Millie. I've done Shrek and Annie and Mary Poppins. And I have also played for Spartanburg Little Theater. And so I have accompanied around town for different things. I've done accompanying occasionally for Lawson students and Lawson events. Just whatever I can find to keep my musical self satisfied, because I know that is part of what makes me me, and it kind of feeds my energy and feeds my brain and feeds my soul, and I need that to be me. Apart from being a wife, apart from being a teacher, apart from being a mom, I need to be a musician. And so since my life as a mom and a wife and a teacher is very busy right now, and I don't always have time to sit and play the piano, then I try to find those opportunities wherever I can, even if they are small. Now, of course, I try to make sure that they are paying opportunities, but it has also been really good for networking. So I've met a lot of other teachers. You make a good impression. You know how this works. Then they tell their friends they need somebody. They call you. I've accompanied many talented high school students at our district's solo and ensemble events, and they've gone on to become fantastic music teachers, some of them themselves, or other teachers, or other professionals. And so in a way, it's been really neat to get to feed into students who aren't even my own personal students, and to get to teach and experience teaching and music in just a totally fresh way, while also getting to learn. Every piece of music I play is a new experience, a new learning process, right? And every student that comes in that I accompany, and I can coach them through how do you play your instrument with an accompanist, and how do you communicate with that accompanist, and how do you lead as the soloist. Just those little things are such good experiences for me as a musician, and even as a teacher, I take that back to my classroom, and it makes me as a musician and a teacher so much more relevant when I can tell my students, hey, last week I was in a rehearsal and we were having to work on this and this and this, and just to let them know that I'm not just up here teaching, that I'm living these arts and these fundamentals and these values that I'm trying to instill in you as well. So I hope that means something to you, or kind of gives you an idea. Just take opportunities that you can. I know musicians are bad about saying yes, 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 and never saying no. So yes, you do have to say no sometimes. You have to place limits on yourself and your time, and you have to understand that personally for yourself first. Here is one tidbit that I think you can take with you, no matter what career you do, where you go in life, or who you become. Be friends with the lowest person around you. If in your workplace the lowest job is the custodian's job, be their friend. If in your classroom, you or your dorm room or your hallway or your family there is someone who is treated as lower than, who everyone kind of looks down on, be that person's friend, please. Not only will it make you a better person, people rise up to expectations. I have learned that from my students. If you treat somebody like they are here, they will start to act like they are this. And if they don't, it's their fault anyways, right? So, treat people like you want to be treated. Be friends with the people in your building who nobody else pays attention to. In fact, if you are a musician, then you probably are the one who's last in the parking lot. You probably are the one who's cleaning up after the rehearsal or staying late in the practice room. And you're the one who is passing those people all the time. Those people who nobody looks at. They're cleaning the hallways or cleaning the building, or the secretaries that answer the phone. And I say all that to say, treat those people with respect, and it will make your life such a much better experience. And people will treat you with respect too. I can't tell you the number of times that a secretary or a custodian has gone out of their way in my teaching career to do something nice for me, just because I treat them like they deserve to be treated, like they are humans with souls that deserve respect. And other people go up to the secretary and say, I need you to answer my question right now. I need that, and they expect answers right then. My mom is a receptionist and a secretary in an administrative office in another part of the upstate, and she deals with people who expect their answer right then. And so I have learned, no, you treat those people like they're a part of your team, because they are. And it is really true that you will only be as high or as strong as your weakest link. So treat those people with respect. It will make you a better person. It will make the world a better place. And if you become a teacher, some of you, your students will see that. I will jump to defend any student in my classroom, no matter who they are. I don't care if they're the bully, the popular kid, or the unpopular kid. You don't get to say something rude to somebody in my classroom, and they know that I will defend them, and so they feel safe in this room and safe with me. And that makes a difference out in the world, when people know they can feel safe and that you respect them and that you care for them, no matter if you believe differently or not. Because boy, do I have some opinions. And I believe a lot differently than some of you may, and that's okay. But you still are a person with a soul who deserves to be treated with respect, no matter who you are or what you do.